Hi guys, and welcome to Escape with Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the Hruodland model F016. I was sent this watch for free. I don't have to send the watch back, but you guys know the deal by now. It's not going to sway my review one way or another. I'm always going to give you my honest opinion on this channel, and if by the end of this review you want to pick one of these up, as always, there will be a link down in the video description. That link takes you to the UTC Watches store. They're the ones that sent me this watch. That is an affiliate link as well, so if you do use that link, you're not going to pay any extra. This channel will just benefit a little bit, and it'll keep the channel running. The retail price for this watch is $180 US, and that's before any taxes or sales or coupons. We are currently in a sale, and the final price of this watch is $144 US, and you might be able to get it even a little bit cheaper than that if you have coins or anything like that. The watch currently comes in two different colorways. They have a dark blue and a black. You can get this with or without the Hruodland logo as well, so yeah, just keep that in mind. The watch case is made of 316L stainless steel. It has a sapphire crystal with AR coating. It has a push-pull crown, screw-down case back, 50 meters of claimed water resistance, and the watch is powered by the Seagull ST3620 hand-wind only mechanical movement. So I've always been a big fan of Hruodland watches. I think they offer great finishing and pretty good value. So what do I think of their take and their little spin on this, big pilot's watch? I say we get right into the review. But before we do a quick wrist check today. This one just arrived. This is the Baltony. I can't remember the model number of this one. I will put it up on screen. Review for this one will be coming pretty soon. Really cool watch. So this is the quartz version. All right, so let's get into the dimensions. We got a diameter of 43 millimeters, case thickness of 12.1 millimeters, 22 millimeter lug width. We've got a lug to lug of 41.6 millimeters, and on the supplied leather strap, weighs 87 grams. So I think the size on this thing is pretty good. It's 43 millimeters, so it is a big pilot's watch. 12 millimeters thick, just over 12 millimeters thick, and that's with a dome crystal. You get a nice turn down to the lugs there, as you can see, so it does wear pretty good on the wrist, I gotta say. Overall, pretty happy with it. The big crown, it does kind of stick into your wrist a little bit, but that's kind of typical with this style. But yeah, I do like the way that it wears, so I'm going to go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. And here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist, and as you can see, it pretty much fills up my entire wrist. You're going to need some big chunky wrists to pull this off. I can do it. I'm not a huge fan of watches of this size, but if you are, you're going to really like this thing. You can see their nice low case profile, hugs the wrist really nicely. I like the light play off of all those chamfers and off the polished bezel. I think it looks really good. And again, really nice size on the strap there. Yeah, really happy with the way this thing wears. It's actually pretty comfortable on the strap. And here we are out in some more direct sunlight, and there you can see pretty subtle sunburst, but it is a nice blue sunburst dial. I think it looks really, really good. Yeah, pretty happy with that. You can see plenty of AR coating as well. Keeps the dial pretty nice and legible, so no issues with legibility. I just like the way it looks. All right, let's go and throw down a couple straps and we'll get back to this review. Yeah, here we are on a black textured rubber strap. Not my favorite strap for this style of watch, but I actually don't think it looks bad. Just in case you wanted something a little bit more comfortable, something like this might work for you. And lastly, here we are on a black nylon strap, which I actually think looks pretty good. There's two layers underneath the watch there, and it's still sitting really nice on wrist, so I like the curve down to those lugs. It really helps with wearability, in my opinion. Yeah, I actually think that looks pretty good. What do you guys think? All right, let's go back inside, and let's get back to this review. All right, so let's talk about the case finishing on this thing. So we have a circular brushing on the tops of the lugs there, as you can see. Going to the sides here, you have a horizontal brushing all the way across. I don't know if it's showing up on screen or not. Hopefully it is. But you can see right here versus right here, you can kind of see like the long streaks of the brushing here, and then it kind of loses that consistency on the outermost part of the case, and then kind of comes back here, and it's again back to these long strokes again. So the finishing is not exactly consistent. A little bit disappointed in that. This is the second time I've seen a watch from Hruodland that's like that. It's not horrible finishing. If it was all like this, it would be fine. If it was all like this, it would be fine. It's just the fact that it's not consistent. It does have a nice luster to it, though, I'll say that. And the polished chamfers that are separating those two surfaces, really nice and sharp transitions. So I'm really happy with those. But yeah, just a little bit inconsistent with the brushing on the sides of the case. You can see the same thing happening on the crown side here. Nice big onion style crown there with a pretty cool airplane logo. But again, just inconsistent brushing there. So yeah, not too happy with the case finishing on this thing. You do have a polished bezel here, polished on the top face there, polished on the actual chamfer, and then brushed on this lower surface there. So it does offer a little bit of a bling to it, which I like. And then flipping it over to the case back here, I'm going to test that for sapphire. We'll to tell you if it's sapphire right here or not. But nice looking case back, showing off the beautiful movement. Really happy with that. Nice big display window too. Simple notches to get a tool in there. There's no writing or anything like that. It's just really simple, really nicely done. Yeah, no issues with that. Everything down here is pretty nice and soft. These edges, these little corners here, they're a little bit sharp. I will say that. And the inside of these lugs, those are also a little bit sharp. Not something you really notice on the wrist at all, though. So for the most part, this thing wears very comfortable on the wrist. And I think it does, for the most part, again, look really good, except for that inconsistent brushing. That's the only real complaint I have with it. All right, so let's talk about the crystal. First things first, we'll test it for sapphire. This is positive for sapphire. So it is sapphire on the back, it is sapphire on the front. So that's nice to see, especially at this price point. It's a double dome piece of sapphire crystal with blue, or I guess it's got a little blue tint to it, but it's hard to notice on this blue dial. Very subtle blue, I'll say that, but it does look really nice and it keeps the dial nice and legible. I've got zero complaints with it. It's a really good crystal. And you can see it's a very subtle dome, but it is a double dome crystal. All right, so let's talk about the dial on this thing. So the dial, it's actually a matte dial, but has a little bit of a sunburst. I don't know if you guys can see it here or not. Hopefully you guys saw that in the outdoor shots. It's a very subtle sunburst, and it's a very dark blue, but I think it looks really, really good. You have a printed minute track all the way around the outside. You have large numerals on the inside there. Those are all BGW9 loomed. You have applied indices at all the hour markers. You have this applied triangle at the 12 o'clock with the 2 dots over it as well. Really nicely done. The sub-seconds hand here, you can see they replaced that with kind of a turbine wheel. I think it looks really cool. Really interesting. It does have a red dot there just to kind of indicate where the seconds hand might be. The sub-dial itself has an applied ring around the outside, and then it does have little markings there for the seconds track. So it's all done really nice. The printing is nice and crisp. The applied indices are done very nicely. They have some nice depth to them as well. They're all applied straight. And I see no alignment issues. You do have a little indice down here at the 6 o'clock position as well. Yeah, it's done really good. All the printing, all the white markings you see on this dial, except for around the sub-seconds there, that's all loomed with BGW9. The applied indices, the hands, which are really nicely sized and really nicely finished, as you can see there. Those are also BGW9. So I'm going to pop up a Lume Shot here. You can see it against a couple other watches in the collection. So you can see the printed aspects of the dial, the minute track and the big numerals there. They do fade pretty quickly, but the rest of the dial and the hands, they hold on really strong. You can see the watch on the left there is just has some killer lume, and this one actually holds on really good with that. So I'm quite impressed with the lume on this thing. All right, so let's talk about the movement and the crown on this thing. So like I mentioned earlier, this is the Seagull ST3620 hand wind only mechanical movement. So first position here as it's in, it is hand winding. You can feel it stop pretty abruptly, and the clicks are pretty loud on this thing. It feels great. Yeah, I've got no complaints about the hand winding on this. It's very springy, as you can hopefully see here. The spring kind of rotates right back. So yeah, you can feel it with some tension on it. Yeah, it's a very nice sounding and very nice feeling movement there. Obviously, it looks gorgeous through the back side here. You got the blued screws, you got some rubies there. Yeah, it just all looks very nice, and a nice big display case back to show that off too. So really happy with the movement in this thing. Here's how this one has been running. Yeah, I've got no real complaints with that. It's been fine for me. The movement that does not hack, it's 21,600 beats per hour and roughly 40 hours of power reserve. Yeah, again, no real complaints with it. It was about 60 turns of that crown, not 60 full revolutions of the crown, just 60 kind of cranks of the crown for me. The movement is operated by this nice big onion screw down crown here, which is signed. Again, that first position is in. Second position jumps right into the time setting. You can see it's not hacking the movement there, so it's just something to know. It doesn't bother me at all. Yeah, push it in and it just snaps right into place. The hands don't jump. Everything is perfectly acceptable. I like the fact that they use this movement. It allows them to keep the case nice and thin. So yeah, I'm happy with the movement. I've got no issues with it. I just love hand wind only movements, especially because you get to see all of the movement in its glory through the case back there. So yeah, really happy with this watch. Or really happy with the movement, I should say. All right, so let's talk about the strap on this thing. So the strap, I actually really like it. It is a very pilot style of watch. It has the two rivets there. Kind of has this abrupt taper, so it's 20 millimeters and it tapers down to 18 millimeters at the clasp. Really happy with it. It's got a good length. You can see I'm kind of right there for my 7.5-inch wrist, so it should fit up to an 8-inch wrist and probably down to a 6.5-inch wrist. But yeah, really happy with it. One floating keeper, one stationary keeper. All the stitching, it's kind of an off white or tannish. All the stitching is done very nicely. The sides of the strap are done nicely, even the bottom of the strap. It's nothing fancy, but it's done really good. You got quick release spring bars there. You do have a polished signed buckle there. Yeah, everything is great on the strap. It's kind of stiff out of the box, but it smells really good. It feels really good, and it's broken in nicely. I think it goes perfectly with the style. Obviously, it's a pilot style watch with a pilot style strap. So, yeah, I think they actually chose a really good one. You're not going to want to toss this in the bin. It's good enough that you're going to want to keep it on the strap probably. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the strap overall. All right, guys, so there you go. That is the Hruodland F016. It's a big pilot style of watch. These watches, they're all over the place. The style of layout, it's all over the place. But, you know, I think Hruodland, they bring something different to the table with that kind of turbine wheel there. The dial on this thing is a little different in the fact that it does have applied indices. Most of them are just fully printed dials. So I think you're getting a good strap, nice crystal, really cool movement that you can see through the case back there. Yeah, if you are interested in a big pilot style watch, this is one that should definitely be on your radar. I think the only thing that could really improve on is that consistency of the case brushing. It's really not bad, but it's something that I noticed, something that I wanted to point out to you guys. So yeah, I think other than that though, it's a really cool watch and something that you're going to actually really enjoy. So I think that's it for me. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.